Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Tom, what would it take? Aspinall is back this weekend, fighting in Abu Dhabi. It's a real heavyweight main event. Finally, we get to see Tom Aspinall as the undisputed world heavyweight champion. And in the co-main event, oh my days, the rematch we have all been waiting for. This might be the biggest rematch in Abu Dhabi since Islam Makhachev against Alexander Volkanovski. Uh, no, but this is a stacked card, an 8 out of 10, I would say, card. We do have a couple stinkers in there, but what a card we have, ladies and gentlemen. This is just kicking off a stretch of 3 bangers in terms of pay per views. I'm super excited. We do get 2 weeks of Stinkfest after this, but at least the pay per views are good. I won't complain. For my West Coast people, sorry. We will have to be waking up pretty early, but hey, we'll take it. We'll get to enjoy our night. It'll be a great time. But without further ado, let's get straight into it. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it wouldn't be a Halo MMA video. It wouldn't be a UFC card without a WMMA stinker to start it off. Let's go, baby. Come on, come on. No, but hey, this one actually might not be a stinker. Will I be waking up for it? Hell no. But we got a pretty good prospect in Jacqueline Amorim. Before the UFC, she was an LFA champ, which LFA is one of the regional promotions that has a bit more credit to it. And her first fight in the UFC was actually a pretty close L to Sam Hughes, who is a decent fighter in this division. She's top 15 area, nothing to be ashamed about. Amorim is a submission artist. She does have 4 straight finishes after that. That's something you rarely see in WMMA. So if anyone's having 4 straight finishes in WMMA, even in guys MMA, they're considered prospect. There's someone that you need to look after. Is it the best competition? Not necessarily, but hey, we appreciate finishes wherever it comes, however they come. And she's fighting Mizuki, who has been in the UFC since 2019. And yes, you're reading that correctly. She only has 3 fights. Super inactive. She last fought in September of 2023. Her last win being to an OnlyFans chick who used the UFC to start an OnlyFans, I think, when she realized she wasn't good enough. So, yeah, I mean, this shouldn't take a lot of thinking. The one thing I will say, funnily enough, Mizuki did fight Verna Jandaroba, who was in the co-main event back in the regional scene, losing to her, I believe, in a championship fight. But yeah, this shouldn't take a lot of thinking. Pick Jacqueline Amorim by sub. I mean, the more active fighter, a finisher, a actual good-looking prospect in WMMA. Not much to think about. Pick her by sub. Moving on, we got Azat Maxim, which is I'm sorry, guys. When it comes to these Middle Eastern European guys, I might not be the best at pronouncing them, but just bear with me. And he's fighting Mitch Raposo this weekend or tomorrow, I believe, once this goes up. Honestly, 2 guys that are not very high level in the UFC, especially Mitch Raposo. He's had 2 fights in the UFC and hasn't particularly looked good in either of the fights. Azad himself, like I said, he's not the highest level, but at least he's shown a bit more flashes of good things than Mitch Raposo has. He's been in there with the guys, man. He's been in there with the guys to gear them back off. He's pretty good. That was a close decision, a close L to him. I think he's just gonna kind of be able to outclass someone like Mitch Raposo. Like I said, not really has shown that he's UFC level. I don't know why the UFC is continuing to promote him. He likes the takedown, but he's not really good at doing anything once he's on the ground. His striking is alright. He's gonna be at a reach disadvantage by almost 6 inches. I mean, this guy's kind of a small flyweight, which is crazy to say, but he is a small flyweight. I think Azaz's just going to be able to body him up a little bit, be able to take him to the fence, keep him there, maybe a couple clinch strikes if he's actually developed some sort of game. So, with that being said, like I said, not much to think about here. As that maximum by decision. I do love this. Kazakhstan, I believe, is the flag. Uh, Pretty nice flag, pretty nice colors. Got to switch it up a little bit. But yeah, pick as that maximum. And if you really want me to say something, this would probably go to decision either way. But yeah, not super high level here. Moving on. Oh my goodness. No shot. We got Chris Barnett back in the ring. A 5'9" demon, man. A 5'9" demon in the heavyweight division, bro. This guy's fucking like 40-50% body fat. And we got Hamdi Abdelwaib next to him. He's probably like a cool 35-30% body fat himself. But at least he's fucking 6'2". He has a bit more mass to him. Mass in general. Talk about a fucking low level MMA fight, man. Especially in the UFC. This man, Chris Barnett, blew out his knee or his foot, I believe, by literally jumping. Jumping when he's warming up as they were announcing his name. And obviously he's going to lose to someone like Kennedy Nzechukwu, who is coming up from light heavyweight. And, that's always going to be a disadvantage, especially with someone like Chris Barnett. To be fair to him, he does have decent taekwondo. He's had a very good knockout by a spinning wheel kick, something that Hamdi has no chance of doing. And Hamdi himself is not high level at all. He lost to Muhammad Usman, which, to be fair, he might have been on steroids. That's the reason he pulled out of his last fight. If you don't believe that, I don't know what you're reading. Like I said, man, this is a stinker, but Hamdi is more active. He's been, not much to say. I mean, I'm really trying to find ways to describe this fight. Hamdi's been more active. Chris's last fight was in 2023. You just got to go with Hamdi Abdelwadib by decision. Like, if you're really here to hear me break down the X's and O's of these first couple fights, maybe you are, but you'd be pretty cooked. I mean, just sit back and watch them. Like, it's not going to be high level. You're not going to be impressed, and that's totally fine. But they're fights that the UFC put on, and I won't be up for this either. This is when I'm gonna wake up, ladies and gentlemen. I hate to break it to you, but this is a fight that's actually worth watching. I mean, you got two. Calling Nathaniel Wood a prospect is funny and ironic because his nickname is the prospect, but he's 32 at this point. He's had a couple of good wins, couple of losses that are not the best, not the worst. But I'm super excited for this fight. This is a hardcore MMA fight. This is going to be a high-level fight. I'm not going to lie to you. I think Nathaniel Wood is very good technically. He can mix up the striking with the grappling if he really needs to. I really do think he's a super small featherweight, though. He used to fight at bantamweight. That does come with lighter man skill. But, that also comes with a 5-inch reach disadvantage. The one thing that he does have going for him is maybe the speed on Jose Miguel Delgado. But I don't know, man. I mean, I just think Jose Miguel Delgado, he's going to be probably maybe on par with the speed. He's going to be able to use his jab efficiently. This guy just fucking goes out there and wants to finish guys. And those are people we like to see. Those are prospects that we all love to see. And I mean, look at the striking. 5.66 significant strikes landed per minute is crazy in itself. This guy has 1.5 more than that at 7.13. He just goes out there and he wants to finish you. Pause. And I'm super excited to watch this guy fight. I mean, he uses his knees, he uses his great Muay Thai elbows in the clinch. He has good ground game. And yeah, this is a Jose Miguel Delgado glaze train, hype train, and I'm on that hype train. I'm on that glaze train, and because of that, I'm gonna have to pick Jose Delgado. Sorry that you probably heard that. You heard that click, but I'm going to have to go with Jose Delgado by KO. I believe Nathaniel Wood's obviously going to have moments in that fight. I think Nathaniel Wood, going back to the breakdown a little bit, I do think he is more of the technical fighter here, more of the fighter you'd like to model your game around. But Jose Miguel Delgado is no slouch. Like, he has great technique, but he just looks a little more crazy, I guess you can say, when he's in the octagon. And I think he's gonna go out there and he's gonna look for the finish. Nathaniel Wood has proven to not have the best chin, especially in his last fights. He's gotten dropped in his last 2 fights against Miguel Pineda and Charrier. And I just think he's a decision merchant. And when you're going up against Jose Miguel Delgado, he's gonna take you to the fire. He's gonna take you, you know, he's gonna say fuck the X's and O's and just fucking go out there and try to finish you. And that's why I think ultimately he's gonna get the win. But it's gonna be a great fight. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Nathaniel Wood decision. I just don't think he'll be able to mix it up as much as he'd like to, because this guy's gonna have a great advantage when it comes to size. And I think we might be seeing this guy one day at 155 just because of his size, once he gets more muscle. But yeah, look out for Jose Delgado. He's going to be a good featherweight regardless if he wins or loses, especially if he knocks Nathaniel Wood out. We got a prospect in our hands. But moving on, Walter Walker. I don't have that good of an impression as other guys do at saying that. But we got Walter Walker back inside the ring. He was supposed to be in there at UFC Rio, but, Muhammad Usman had to pull out. Or was it Muhammad Usman? Shit, I forget. I think it was, actually. So he had to pull out. Guys on steroids, what to say. And speaking of guy on steroids, we got Louis Sutherland making his UFC debut. If you don't believe me, go look at his Tapology photo. The guy's definitely on roids. I mean, look at his traps. Like, that's absolutely wild. I mean, yeah, guys, Walter Walker is a leg lock machine. Is his BJJ that good, or is he just a leg lock machine? That remains to be seen. But when he's going up against a guy like Louis Sutherland making his UFC debut on short notice, you kind of begin to question the level of competition they're putting this guy that's ranked already number 15 up against. Louis Sutherland is 1-1 in PFL, 0-1 in Bellator. Fucking stinker. I mean, he was supposed to fight Justin Tafa, but this man, Justin Tafa, cannot make 265. As a professional athlete, he cannot make 265. That's why that motherfucker's cut from the UFC. Holy ass. I mean, yeah, this is pretty simple again in my eyes. Take Walter Walker by sub. Just take Walter Walker by this should be a Walter Walker win. It should be pretty clean. Should be pretty efficient. He actually looks better than he does in this picture now. I just saw the video with Nina Drama. This guy looked kind of lean, actually. So this is the pick. This is, I'd say, the lock of the night. One of the locks of the night. So yeah, Walter Walker. Let's go, baby. Oh, again with the click. Guys, I'm sorry if you're hearing the click. I promise to be a little more gentle. But moving on. Abdul Karim Al-Sewaldi. Wadi. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just going to stick to say Abdul Karim. I can say that name versus Mateus Camelo. Again, we're back to these kind of stinkers of why are we putting on this fight? Why is this fight higher on the card than Nathaniel Wood against Jose Delgado? I'm not quite sure. I mean, this will probably be a close fight. Both of them are kind of all-around MMA fighters, not really special on one side. Mateus Camelo, a bit more jiu-jitsu based, but these guys kind of like to mix it up all around. 3 total fights in the UFC, 1 win. Mateus Camelo came into the UFC in short notice, so I'm not really sure if that proves that he's UFC level. He is the younger guy by a good amount, but Abdul Karim, he's been a little more in there with the guys. He's been a little bit more in there with the guys. I really don't think either of these guys have finishing potential. Yeah, man, just go with Abdul Karim by a decision. Again, not much to say here. I think we need to see both of these guys more in the UFC to kind of judge them. Like I said, if you haven't fought in the UFC, I'm not gonna fucking watch your fights. I'm sorry. I don't care that much. If you're here to hear this prediction and you really want me to break down X's and O's, sorry, I'm not the guy for you. Maybe go somewhere else. When it comes to guys that we've actually seen in the UFC, I'll get into that. Not necessarily for these kinds of fighters. Yeah, maybe once I become a little bit more of a hardcore fan, I'll watch every single fight top to bottom. But right now, that's just not me. And if you don't like that, hey, I totally get it. I'm here a little more so for the entertainment factor as well. So yeah, enough with the yap. Let's get straight in. Let's get into the next fight. Here's an actual fucking banger. Here's a fucking banger, UFC. Great job. I know I love to complain, even though I'm saying this card's a banger. But from this point on, all the fights are really good. And the Walter Walker, I'm excited to see him. Obviously, Nathaniel Wood, Jose Delgado, that's going to be a great fight. But yeah, let's get into this one. So I'm actually super surprised that Rebecca is back this fast. He has had a quick ass turnaround. This guy absorbed 300 significant strikes against Chris Duncan and had an absolute war against Autobai in the last pay-per-view in Abu Dhabi back in October of 2024. I'm super fucking surprised he's back this early. I mean, when you take that amount of damage, when you develop that amount of scar tissue, you're gonna bleed so much easier. I mean, I just wonder what his manager's thinking. Maybe this guy needs money. I don't fucking know. But especially with a guy against Ludovic Klein, who's the slicker fighter, the slicker striker. He doesn't necessarily mix it up as much as Rebecca does, but I think the striking is going to be a little too much for Rebecca. I mean, Rebecca's going to go in there and try to make it a dogfight, but I think Ludovic Klein has the level to kind of ease out of it, circle out of those crazy exchanges, be able to be smart. He's been in a couple of wars himself, but he, on the contrary, he has recovered from those. I mean, his last fight, he got out grappled by Gamrot. Rebecca, I'm sorry, is not Mateus Gamrot. I know he's good and I know he's a great fighter to watch, but they're just not the same. Ultimately, I think Rebecca's going to be a little too wild for someone like Klein. Klein is a much slicker striker. He's going to be more accurate. He's going to be just a smarter guy, I believe, in the octagon. So, if it wasn't obvious enough, I am going to go with Ludovic Klein to win by decision. Yeah, I mean, like I said, he's going to be a slicker guy. He's going to be kind of tagging up Rebecca a little bit. I think he's going to make him bleed real easily because he likes to use his jab. He likes to use, 1-2 slick combos, switch it up, circle the octagon. And I think he's just going to be able to do that. Not with ease against Rebecca because he is going to try and make it a dogfight. But yes, pick Ludovic Klein. I don't know why I keep saying pick. This isn't a betting video. But I'm going to be betting, by the way. Moving up on the card, we got Ikram Aliskerov against Yu Young Park. The Iron freaking Turtle, man. Iron freaking Turtle, man. He's back, man. He's back. No, but I would be lying to you if I say I'm not a fan of Yu Young Park. I like his fight style. I just like the nickname, too. Like Iron Turtle. Like, come on. How can you not like that? But in terms of his fighting style, I mean, he's able to mix it up well. Especially with the grappling. He likes to take guys down when he's feeling a little bit of the pressure on the feet. He is more of a volume striker compared to someone like Ikram Aliskerov. But, Ikram Aliskerov, I'm going to say Aliskerov, but this guy's a great kickboxer, man. He has crazy power in his hands. He was on a finishing streak. And then he fought Robert Whittaker on short notice. And props to him, man. I mean, he took that fight, main event, 5 rounds, and he got knocked out round 1, I believe. But you can't really be mad at a loss like that to Robert Whittaker. He came back and knocked out Andre Muniz. So, this guy's a little bit more accurate, has more volume that Young Park does, even though he's like the volume guy. He's going to have a reach advantage. And I think just Ikram Aliskerov is one of the prospects in middleweight that you have to keep an eye out. These Dagestanis, have they taken over the UFC yet? I'm not too sure. I mean, we got a prospect like this in the middleweight division. Obviously, we've had Ankalaev as champ. We had Khabib. And we have Islam that's trying to move up to welterweight. So I really do believe in the Ikram Aliskerov hype. And I'm going to go with him by KO. I know I said I love Yoon Young Park, the Iron Turtle. That's my guy. And hey, most other fights against unranked guys, I probably am going to pick him because I really do like his fight style. I do believe that he's able to mix it up well, better than a lot of these guys at 185 are. But Ikram Aliskerov just has that power, man. He has that power that I haven't really seen, from Yu Young Park. So I believe he's going to be able to catch him. I believe he's going to be able to have a good combination in there and land a left hook, maybe in close, but maybe a straight right down the middle. It's just I just see the Iron Turtle getting his lights cut off, and yeah, it's gonna be sad, but I'm gonna be happy that Ikram gets another win. He is a prospect I really like, and if you haven't heard of him before, which I'd be very surprised if you haven't, you're gonna hear about him after this pay-per-view. Really good prospect. Moving on, the last fight of the prelims, we got Nasrat Haqparast versus fucking Colin Salkill, mate. Sorry, I really can't not say that name and not say like bedtime MMA. I mean, Aussie casual, man. Aussie fucking casual. Shouts out to bedtime MMA. Quite the fucking Salkill, man. Uh, I'm sorry. I know I use my laugh as a cope every time I make a corny joke, but just go along with it. I have a good laugh, all right? So, actually get into the X's and O's of this fight, Nasrat Haqparast, he's been in there with the guy. Look, dude, to be honest, I say that a lot. I don't know if I'm trying to make that, one of the lore pieces that I have, but he has been in there with a lot more guys than Quinn Salkill has. Uh, his last losses are to not exactly washed Bobby Green. I'm talking for Nasrat, obviously, and Dan Hooker. Two fighters who, look, Bobby Green at this point, he's fucking washed. But back then, he wasn't as washed as he is now. And Dan Hooker, nothing to be ashamed about. He's a top 6 guy fighting in the main event in November. So, yeah, I mean, I think Nasrat, he's an all-around good MMA fighter. Like I said, he's probably, this guy's probably a 3.5, 4-star, MMA build in UFC 5. He will be able to get into the clinch. Not necessarily a great takedown artist, but I do think he'll feel like the bigger guy in there. He is shorter by 2 inches, but I do think he'll look like the bigger guy in there. Sorry about the X up there. Quillen Salkill, I mean, he is a really good prospect. I am super excited to see him in there with a big jump, with a probably top 25 area lightweight. He has pretty decent UFC wins, but his most memorable win is against Ansu Jubilee by KO, and I mean, this guy's one of the laughing stocks for the UFC. I'm sorry I had to say it. I really do like Colin Salkill, and I do think he'll develop really well. And I think this fight will be a fight where he sees a level that he's never really seen before. Not to say that Haqparast is, oh my days, Haqparast is fucking high level. But hey, he beat Esteban Ribovics in a striking battle by a close decision, split decision, I believe. And Ribovics is one of the better strikers we see in lightweight, outside of the rankings, of course. And I'm not sure if Colin Salkill will be able to take Nasrat Haqparast down. I do think that is his best method to victory, just because I think in the striking he will be at a disadvantage. Like I said, this might be just too big of a jump, just a little bit too soon, especially on short notice with someone like Colin Salkill that we have seen tends to gas out a little bit. And hey, man, I'm going to go with the guy that's been in there with the guys, man. He's been in there with the guys. He's on a 5-win streak. I don't know why I just repeated that. But yeah, I'm going to go with Nasrat Haqparast by decision. I don't think either of these guys really has that much finishing potential. I know obviously they do have a couple of finishes, but it'll be a good fight, a fairly close fight. And I do think if it comes down to the scorecards and it was a close fight, You know, they're probably gonna give it to the guy that looks a little bit more like the guys in the Middle East. That's all I'm gonna say. Uh, don't want to say anything about fights in Abu Dhabi, but that's just how it goes, man. If we're being real with ourselves, so yeah, Nasser Haqparast decision should be a good fight though. You know, if Quinton Salkill wins, I'll be really, I wouldn't be really surprised, but I'll be really happy to see that we have a new prospect. So moving on. Now we get to the main card, ladies and gentlemen. Now we get to a fight that I've already kind of covered. If you haven't seen the video I made about the 15 remaining main card pay-per-view fights, where I ranked them based on hype, based on the storyline going into it, based on how much we as the MMA community care about it, you should definitely check it out. It's one of my better videos, and I'm not as serious as these prediction videos, so definitely make sure to check it out. We got a pretty good fight here in the light heavyweight division. We got Alexander Rakic against Azamat Murzakanov. And look, I'm not gonna lie to you. I've been going back and forth with who I think is gonna win this. Obviously, Alexander Rakic is coming from a 3-fight losing streak. But hey, if you know anything about UFC MMA in the past year and a half, you've seen this guy with only the best of the best. He fought Jan Blachowicz, yeah, and he got injured in that fight. He beat kind of the brakes out of Yuri Prohaska in the first round at UFC 300. But then you know what Yuri does. Bro said, I'm going to lock in. I understand it now. And fucking went out there and finished him in the second round. And Magomed, hey, he had a very close fight against Magomed Ankalaev in the last pay-per-view here in Abu Dhabi. He did decide to switch camps, so you know these three fights you can't blame him because he kind of did stink it up a little bit versus Rakic. He had a lot of good moments where he could have taken advantage, but he really didn't. Especially compared to someone like Azamat Murzakanov, who is on a big win streak. I believe he's finished most of the last 5 fights that I have here up on the screen. He has surprisingly good knockout power, considering, you know, he kind of looks like a blob. He is 5'10", which is pretty short. You know, we got fighters. Fucking Jose Delgado's 5'10", and they're fighting in, let's see, quick math here, 60-pound difference of a division. Absolutely wild. But I do believe Azamat has the power to take Alexander Rakic's lights out. It'll be just a matter of how he approaches this. I mean, he's going to have to get in there, get a little dirty, clinch him up, use some elbows when he's breaking from the clinch. Because if he tries to the outside foot battle and land that one big shot, I think it's going to be really tough. I think Rakic will be able to use his jab effectively, his 1-2 effectively, to the body, obviously to the head. He is a little bit more accurate than Azamat. I think obviously he's going to be faster than Azamat's going to be. He does have great takedowns compared to most people in the light heavyweight division. I think if he really wants to, he can grapple for all 3 rounds, kind of stink it up. But I think he'll want to exchange a little bit unless he's super scared of getting knocked out by Azamat, which I'm not sure if Azamat has quite the level of striking to be able to find Alexander Rakic early. But he does have the power, so I would be a little bit concerned. All things considered, I think this would be a pretty good fight. I think this is definitely a fight to watch. Not a lot of not hardcore or not casual fans of the UFC, or casual fans of the UFC, sorry, will know about this fight, but I think this is a great fight to kick off the card. And ultimately, I'm going to go with Alexander Rakic by decision. I do apologize if any Serbs do get offended by me covering up the main part of the flag. You guys know I do love to show love for the flags, love for the country that these guys are fighting in. So I did want to stick in there the Serbian flag, but like I said, I think he's just going to be able to jab up Azamat. I think he's going to be able to use his 1s, 2s effectively. Probably get in there in the clinch, not as much as he would maybe do in other fights, because I think he'll be a little bit afraid of Azamat's power in the clinch when he's up close. But I think he'll be able to use that side foot battle, man. And when he wants to, when he feels that he's in trouble, I think he'll be able to mix up the grappling. And because we've seen it before, He can sync it up to a decision, and I think he's just kind of been unlucky. He's faced three really good guys in this division, top guys in this division. Obviously, I don't know if Jan Blachowicz at this point is that high uh, of a fighter in this division, but I think he's been a little bit unlucky. He took a long break, I believe a year. So I think he's going to be in here. He's going to be ready. He's going to be fired up. And he's going to show that there's levels to this shit. So, yeah. Moving on. Oh, my days. We got the number one contender fight for Tom. What would it take, Aspinall? Sorry, I'm done with the Tom Aspinall glaze. That will come a little bit later. But we do have Alexander Volkov against Jelton Almeida. We have two fighters that have pretty different styles. Obviously, Alexander Rakic is more of a striker, someone that likes to keep it on the feet, but he's not afraid to be taken down. We saw that against Cyril Gane, out of all people. And yes, I don't know if you do notice, I have the Gane fight in green because he fucking won that fight. He fucking won that fight, and he should be on a 5-fight winning streak. He should be fighting for the title, and that sucks that he's not. But I guess we do get a fresh matchup in Cyril Gane. And you will see later that I do have the Volkov fight as an L for Cyril Gane because it fucking was. It was close, but Volkov fucking won that fight. He had better moments in 2 of the 3 rounds than Gane did, rounds 1 and 3. So I think that was a win. And then we have on the other side Jelton Almeida, who's primarily a grappler. He loves to take the fight to the mat. He has excellent wrestling, probably the best wrestling. I believe I touched on this on the hype video, the 15 fights in the main cards that we have left. I said that this guy probably has the best wrestling we've seen since Tom Aspinall, John Jones, and maybe even DC. He has great takedowns, great wrestling, pretty decent jiu-jitsu, and he's kind of been developing a bit of ground and pound kind of style when he's on the ground, and you love to see it. It's tough to say. Alexander Volkov is 6'7". It's a very funny height to be. Sorry, I won't tell you guys why. I'm sure you should know if you're fucking brain rotted like I am. And his takedown accuracy is 6.67. But yeah, moving on from that. And fucking Tom Aspinall said this guy's probably closer to 6'9", which is also very funny that he said that he's that height. To be honest with you guys, I think this is going to be a really close fight as well. I'm excited to see how Jelton Almeida's striking has developed, if we even get to see it. I don't think he'll want to just take down Volkov in the very first exchange, but he might. He might be scared of his striking. I really don't think that Volkov has the power to put out Jelton Almeida's lights, especially in the 3-round fight. I just don't think it'll get to that point. I do think that Volkov has the better volume, has the better striking, has a better technique. But I think Jelton Almeida is going to be sort of the twitchier fighter, if that makes sense. He's going to be able to pop that jab a little more. Just pop, pop that jab. Be able to use the jab, use his striking effectively to then be able to take Volkov down. But if Volkov can stuff the takedowns, this is going to be a really interesting fight. Once again, like I said, I'd be very surprised if Jelton Almeida hasn't at least worked on his striking a little bit more, to at least use it a little bit more effectively to take these guys down, even though he's done it before. But this is a big step up in competition since Curtis Blades, which he lost to by knockout. So this is going to be a really interesting fight. This is the number one contender fight for who fights the winner of Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane next. But man, I mean, look at that. 6.5 takedown averages in his fights with a 60% takedown accuracy. That's not the best, but I think at some point he will be able to take Volkov down, or I think he will be able to use his striking effectively. And I think he's going to get either a late finish or a decision. I think this is probably going to get to at least the 3rd round. Like I said, Jelton Almeida, I think he will have developed. I think that with, he is 2 years younger, but I think with someone that of the age of Almeida, there is still room to improve. And we've seen Volkov improve as well. When it comes to heavier fighters, these two guys aren't super old or anything. But I think both of them being orthodox, I think Jelton Almeida will be able to just kind of find the takedowns. Like I said, I do think he is the twitchier fighter. I do think he is a more explosive fighter, and I think he'll be able to grab a hold of Volkov and be able to take him down a couple times. Maybe mix up the striking, and then towards the end he'll either wear out Volkov and get a ground and pound finish or a sub, or we'll see a Jelton Almeida decision. But this is a really good fight. I wouldn't be surprised if Volkov wins. He should be on a 5-5 winning streak, so he can make it 6 after this. But I'm really just intrigued to see how these guys face off against each other. They're both very improved from their last loss. I won't count the Sarugan fight as a loss for Volkov. So, yeah, keep your eyes on this one. This is going to be really good. Moving on, we have the return of Umar Nurmagomedov, Khabib's cousin, prodigy of Khabib, after losing a close decision to Merab Dvalishvili, going up against Mario Bautista, the T word of this division. I mean, guys, look, if you look at the last two fights both of these guys have, I think this is really, really, really good matchmaking decisions from Umar Nurmagomedov. I mean, we're hyping off Mario Bautista off of a win, off of a nasty win against Jose Aldo, and a pitter-patter decision against Patchy Mix. And as we've seen, Patchy Mix is fucking terrible. I also just saw today that he popped positive for PEDs back when he was in Bellator. Holy fucking fraud. Cut Patchy fucking Mix out of the UFC. Guys, I'm not even lying at this point. That guy's terrible. And yeah, I mean, like I said in the top 15 video, Umar definitely gave Merab the toughest test he has gotten after losing his first two fights. Definitely in his championship run. Umar Nurmagomedov is an excellent fucking fighter. He's able to mix it up well. His striking is better than any of the Dagestanis we've seen before. Maybe his grappling isn't as good, but his striking is levels above, at least to this point, than any of the Dagestanis we've seen before compared to their wrestling. But he's more than capable of mixing it up. You know, Mario Bautista gets credited for being able to mix it up, and Umar averages more takedowns with better accuracy, and I believe has a sub in his last 5 fights compared to Mario Bautista. His striking style is just a bit prettier. I think, you know, while he uses his jab, you know, has a jab, obviously, he also uses his kick as a jab, you know, to when it was against Merab, he was able to use his kicks to kind of keep him at bay a little bit, be able to get him at his range, and I think he'll be able to do the same to Mario Bautista, even though the height is similar. Actually, Mario Bautista is an inch taller, with the reach being the same. I think Umar just has more effective striking that he'll be able to play at his game. And yeah, I mean, he beat Corey fucking Sandhagen pretty convincingly, and Corey Sandhagen also gave a really tough test to Merab. And give credit to Corey Sandhagen, man. I know we like to make fun of him because the X's and O's, the beakers and testers, but he is a high-level fighter. He is a top 4, top 5 bantamweight right now in the UFC. And I just don't really think Mario Bautista is at that tier. I think Bautista's probably at the B tier when it comes to bantamweights. And I think Umar is in that AS range, up there with Merab, up there with Petr Yan. I think those three are in a land of their own. So if I didn't make this clear enough, I think Umar's going to win this by decision. I think there will be close rounds where, you know, you're kind of like, okay, I didn't, you know, people love to hate on Mario Bautista, and so they think he's not the best. But he's actually pretty good, and he is able to kind of mix up the striking, mix up the grappling. But I just don't think he'll be able to do that effectively. I think he'll try, but I don't think, and I think he might land a couple, maybe he lands a takedown or two, maybe he has a couple of good combos, but I just don't think he'll be as effective as he was against someone like Patchy Mix, like Jose Aldo, who's a little bit older now. So Umar Nurmagomedov by decision. And will this warrant another title shot? I don't know. We'll see how good he looks, especially if he gets a finish. I think definitely it'll warrant a title shot. I just don't know if he can knock out someone like Mario Bautista that's a little crafty and going to be able to use his defense. He has pretty good defense, so we'll see. But I'm just excited to see Umar back in the ring, or back in the ring. This is in the WWE. This is the Octagon in the UFC. But yes, Umar Nurmagomedov by decision. Moving on. Oh my days. Hey, as Dean Thomas put it, probably one of the most insignificant title fights we've seen in recent memory. None of these have ever gotten the title or defending their title. Let's be honest. Like I said in the top 15 video that I keep alluding to, Zhang Weili is the best fighter in this division. She's probably 2 tiers above anyone in this division because no one else can move up and have most MMA fans thinking that it's going to be a close decision, a close fight against Valentina Shevchenko. Shevchenko would kill any one of these girls, and it wouldn't be close. But let's talk about the fight in hand here. We got Virna Jandiroba versus Mackenzie Dern. Mackenzie thirst trap Dern. Not to her own fault. This is the UFC's fault. How do you have fucking embedded, first day of embedded, and you have Mackenzie Dern in a bikini? When you have Tom Aspinall fighting, when you have Umar Nurmagomedov, a great fight in Gelton Almeida versus Volkov, you put some tits there. I just think that's kind of crazy. But she's going up against Virna Jandiroba. Both of these ladies are jiu-jitsu based. Obviously both from Brazil, so that makes a little bit more sense. They have fought before, and it kind of seems like they kind of have recycled the same fights, as you can see here in the last 5 fights for each of these ladies. I mean, pretty low-level striking when it comes to Mackenzie Dern. She looks kind of terrible on the feet. I know we saw that one video earlier this week of her hitting pads, but when it comes to hitting pads, you can't, you take that with a grain of salt. Virna Jandiroba will have more of a reach advantage. She is on a 5-fight winning streak. And the first fight they had, this was a very close fight, and it could have gone either way. They gave it to Mackenzie Dern. So I am afraid if this is a close fight and it comes down to a decision, they're going to give it to Mackenzie Dern because they don't want someone that's looking at you directly and then looking at whatever is to your left holding the UFC title. But like I told my buddies, she's got one eye on the camera always and one eye on the UFC title. So be careful with Vernon, man. She's a little bit dangerous, man. I really don't see a finish either way. Like I said, both of these girls have a jiu-jitsu base. I don't think they'll be able to submit each other, and sure as hell won't be able to knock each other out unless it's like a ground and pound. If any of them have really focused on the ground and pound, I do think we could see a finish here. Mackenzie Dern's wrestling is lackluster. It's kind of terrible. Look at that takedown accuracy. That's fucking terrible. I'm not going to lie to you. And I would have thought she averages more takedowns, but it's not even one per fight. Obviously, the subs are going to be a little bit similar. This is going to be a low-level striking battle if both of them don't want to take each other down. Do I favor Mackenzie Dern if it's that? I mean, I think Mackenzie Dern, if anything, is a little bit more has a little bit more thud to her. A little bit more just spice, I guess you could say, when it comes to the striking. But I think Verna's just going to be a little bit more silky on the feet. I do think she also has better wrestling. I mean, this is a toss-up. Like I said, do we really care about this? No. Either champ. I mean, I think if Mackenzie Dern wins this, she could lose her next fight. Virna Jandiroba beat Zhang Jiaonan in her last fight and sub Lemos. So I guess we've seen a little bit more flashes in her, which is ultimately why I'm going to pick Virna Jandiroba by decision. I am afraid to pick her by decision just because, like I said, if it is close, I do think the UFC would obviously want Mackenzie Dern as champ. But I think Virna is either going to be able to land some good strikes on the ground, be able to just show that wrestling is a lot better. I do think, not necessarily that she takes mixed martial arts more seriously, but I do think she's more focused on it. And, Mackenzie Dern has a lot more going for her. She's on these podcasts. She's an attractive lady. She can do other things, but for Virna Jandiroba, this is her life. MMA is her life. She goes in there every day, and that's her main focus. And that's ultimately why I think she's going to win. I think it's going to be a 49-46 decision. There might be a judge in there that gives Mackenzie Dern a 48-47 decision just because, like I said, they want her to be champ. But I just think this is Virna's to lose, or not to lose. This is Virna's to win, because I just think she wants it a little more. No offense to Mackenzie Dern, but at the end of the day, do we care that much? No, we do not. But I just hope it's a good fight. So I hope it's a better fight than we all expect. I like to give credit where credit's due. So if it's a good WMMA fight, I'll give the credit here in the recap video. But we shall see. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, we got the main event of the evening. We got Tom Aspinall. Aspinall. I know I keep saying that. If you don't get why, he does not like nicknames. And he said that people have tried to give him nicknames. So I'm giving him the Tom Aspinall nickname for Tom Aspinall. Or you could say, what would it take, Aspinall as well. I like either of those. And he's going up against Cyril the Fraud Gane, guys. I mean, there's no other way to put it. He should be 2-3 in his last 5. Beating fucking Tai Tuivasa, who's fucking shambles. And Sergey Spivak. I'll just be in front with you guys what we're all thinking. I don't think this is going to be a close fight. I think Tom Aspinall is a level above any heavyweight. I don't know. I think maybe Jonathan Almeida could be at a similar level. Or maybe Volkov if he wins, depending on that fight. But if there's someone to beat him, it is sure as hell not Cyril Gane. He just doesn't have... First of all, he doesn't have the power. He's not going to be able to knock Tom Aspinall out because I don't think we're going to get to rounds 3 and 4 where Cyril Gane's maybe wearing on him a little bit. And we have questions about Tom Aspinall's gas tank. But it's just stupid to say that Tom Aspinall's gas tank is not good if we've never seen it. This guy has the power of the gods, I guess. Like, he's knocking out guys with a simpleton jab, 1-2, straight down the middle like he did to Curtis Blades. And he's so quick. I don't know who's going to be quicker, but I think this Tom Aspinall is going to be so much quicker than anyone Cyril Gane has ever seen. I know this guy said he was locked in and he went to Abu Dhabi a couple months before the fight. But my guy, Tom Aspinall is doing this year round, bro. Like, just because you're locked in for a couple more months doesn't mean that you're going to win this fight. You're still fucking recording movies. I will say he looks fucking jacked. Like, he's probably following my Halo MMA's routine because he looks fucking jacked. He looks fucking cut. But we've seen crazy weaknesses in this guy's game. Something that we have not seen out of Tom Aspinall. If anything, I mean, I think maybe Cyril Gane's going to be able to outland him a little more. But his takedown defense is terrible. His wrestling is terrible. I don't care that he has an Iranian world champion wrestler with him. It's just not going to be the same when it comes to MMA. Tom Aspinall has an 100% takedown accuracy, averaging 3.27 average takedowns a fight. Obviously, you can read. I don't have to read that to you. But that stat is just fucking insane. Cyril Gane's supposed to be a black belt in jiu-jitsu, yet we haven't really seen him sub guys because he can't fucking take him down. So he can't sub him. I just really, as everyone has said, don't see an avenue for Cyril Gane to win. Yes, he looks like someone that could beat Tom Aspinall. But is he actually that good? I don't think so. I don't think anyone that's serious about MMA thinks so. I don't see a reason why you'd put a penny on him. Why do you put even a nice word that would indicate that Cyril Gane's going to win? Like, I'm talking crazy. So if Tom Aspinall loses... Because I don't think Cyril Gane will win this. I think Tom Aspinall would lose the fight, if anything. He's a more accurate guy as well. He lands more significant strikes from it. And, stats aren't always everything, but this guy has the shortest average fight time of anyone ever in the UFC. Like I said, he's got the power of the gods. He is actually a really good black belt jiu-jitsu guy. That's his base. That's where he started. That's what he's done his whole life. And we've actually seen him submit high-level guys in Volkov. So this is pretty simple, guys. Tom Aspinall, round 1 finish. No ands, ifs, or buts about it. Tom Aspinall is going to be on his way to heavyweight GOAT status. And I think he's going to break it pretty easily unless Alex Pereira moves up and we see that fight. But even still, even if he does lose to Alex Pereira, which would be a very, very close fight, he'd be on his way to GOAT status for the heavyweight division at least. And even for MMA, I mean, we don't like to give credit to these heavyweight guys, but it's just because I think the thing is that these heavyweights don't look as good as maybe they did before, as flashy, and so we like to discredit them a lot. But the fact that Tom Aspinall is putting them out there on an average fight time of, I believe, 2 minutes and a couple seconds is absolutely insane. I mean, I think he's gonna do it again. At most, a round two finish. We've seen that he can go to round two and then finish a guy, but if he's finishing these top level guys in round one, I don't see why he doesn't do the same with Surreal Gane. But that's gonna be my predictions for UFC 321. I'm super excited for this fight card. We finally have another paper. I say finally, but we have another pay per view, Abu Dhabi. It's good. It's gonna be one of those rare times, like I said, that I have to wake up here early in the East Coast and watch these fights. I will see. I'm gonna pass up on those early ones. I will watch them back, so don't worry. When I do my breakdown, I will watch them back. But I just can't be asked to wake up to a couple stinkers. But yeah, I mean, when it's a Tom Aspinall fight week, we have to be excited, even if it's gonna be, even if we know what's gonna happen. But hey, man, you never know. It's heavyweight MMA. Tom said it himself. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know who you think is gonna win. Let me know what you guys are betting on if you're doing that. If you're 21 or over, or 18 plus in other regions of the world. Yeah, enough with the yapping. I'll let you guys go. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, I'm just starting off. Halo MMA, guys. Remember the name. I'm gonna do some great things, and I keep saying in these videos, but I really do think it. And if no one else is gonna believe in you, you gotta be the one that believes in you. So yeah, enough with the yapping, guys. I'll see you next time. Enjoy the card, and yeah, we'll see you later. Peace.